Welcome back to On Air with Dr. Pete. I'm your host, Dr. Pete Economo, and it is always great to be here. As you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I believe that the importance of having an open, honest conversation around mental health is huge. Much of my work in the private practice focuses on supporting clients with their mental health well-being while trying to give them some optimization of performance. So I'm thrilled today to have Alyssa Ercolino, who is a licensed professional counselor, experience working with a diverse population of individuals, including athletes. She earned a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling from Monmouth University, and she brings a unique perspective, having been shaped with her background as a Division I athlete and coach. She has a deep understanding of the role of resilience plays in achieving both emotional and physical well-being. Her therapeutic approach is grounded in compassion, collaboration, and strength of every individual. She's studying for her PhD, which I know. I didn't have to even read that intro that Lee made for us, but I was happy to. Alyssa, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm also happy because we work together, and so I get to know. I've got to see your journey, which has been really fun.
Yeah.
How has the journey been for you?
It's been good. I think that since we had met probably 5 years ago at this point, which seems kind of crazy because you
Time
feel like
flies.
a new person in my life.
It's not so new anymore. Wait, was it? It was probably pre-COVID though, so it's probably longer.
It wasn't. It was
No?
my internship was 2021. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was the intern at Seton Hall when the flood happened,
Right. And
right
then we were
after
already in
COVID.
right after COVID. Okay. Yeah.
So it was everyone was getting ready to go back to normal life, and then
Yeah.
there was the flood, and then we ended up being virtual.
Yeah, so we flooded in the basement, and well, actually, the story of you meeting me, you were how many people did you email that because you were trying to get some sports psychology
Yeah.
guidance?
I emailed the whole list of CMPCs that were
Yeah,
in New Jersey. So
yeah,
I found it online, and at the time there was probably only maybe 8 names
I
on it.
know.
It was
Yeah,
really small.
yeah,
And whoever responded, I took a Zoom call with, and
yeah,
you and I just happened to connect.
yeah. So tell everyone about yourself then. Tell them about Alyssa Ercolino.
Well, I was an athlete myself. I
Yeah,
played field hockey at Monmouth University.
yeah,
I guess what's kind of interesting is I was a recruited walk-on, so I didn't receive a scholarship.
yeah,
I was recruited, but um, yeah,
yeah.
I ultimately did not get any playing time my freshman year, which was really
Okay.
hard.
Yeah,
I was a red shirt, like a true red shirt.
yeah,
And I came from a high school program that has a big legacy. We won state championships. Like we were a
yeah.
good program. Transitioning now into a team where I was the worst player on the team. And we were not good. We like started the season 0-9, and I had
Wow,
probably lost a total of 5 games in my life as a
wow.
high school athlete.
Right.
So it was a big transition, but I worked pretty hard, and I was able
Yeah,
to, become a captain and a starter and,
yeah.
do really well in my college career.
Well, I love that you said that. Like you're like, well, it's actually interesting that I was a recruited walk on. Because we create such this like elitist approach of like what it means to be like the star versus just not the star.
Yeah.
I mean, what? So
Yeah.
what was that like?
Well, I think, I was thinking interesting because that's like not a thing anymore, right? Are there recruited walk-ons?
Well, we're allowed to right now. The House settlement almost prevented that from happening, but
Yeah.
no. So in this moment, you still could, but you're right. It's not a lost art. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But from my experience, I think I didn't realize that.
yeah,
And I wasn't a star on my high school team either. So I think that's
yeah,
interesting I had probably over the course of my 4 years, 10 girls go and play Division I field hockey. So it wasn't an abnormal type of thing that my high school was experiencing, or it wasn't
yeah.
abnormal for me to play Division I and not be the best athlete in my high school.
Right.
So that transition, I wasn't expecting to be the best or necessarily play a ton of minutes, but to get zero, it's kind of, that's a big
How did you
difference.
handle that? Like, were you upset? Did you like?
Yeah, I wanted to quit.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
ever like make a decision to quit?
yeah,
Yeah. I love tell that story because I tell that to athletes a lot. Like I also did. I went to the office one day. I talked to my parents. I was scholarship. We figured the money out, and I was like,
uh-huh,
I'm gonna quit. But I never quit that day. I didn't have it to go into the office to quit.
yeah. So I am from the town where Monmouth is in West Long Branch.
Yeah.
So my parents were there. I remember my dad took me to the windmill So you got a hot dog and cheese fries, because what else do you need when you're upset? And we had the conversation, and I was really afraid to have that conversation. It come
Yeah.
from like a blue collar, hardworking, you don't
Yeah.
quit kind of family. Um, I think that for my dad to be supportive and, if this isn't for you, it's not necessarily about sport. It's about you getting your education, and whichever way you want to do that, he was
Mm.
endorsing of. That was really
Yeah.
great for me to hear.
Yeah.
I ultimately stuck it out. This was in the middle, probably October of my freshman year. Feel like
Yeah.
it's a fall sport.
Yeah.
And then I remember the season ended like early November. We had
Hmm.
about 2 weeks off, and then winter workouts started. And I instantly felt like the playing field was just even. Like there
Yeah. Oh,
weren't
nice.
starters and non starters. We were
Yeah.
just running and lifting. I
Yeah.
was like fit enough, but I
Yeah.
wasn't skilled enough to be on the field.
Okay.
So that kind of like pushed me up from like last place to like middle of the pack.
Nice.
Um, and I gained like a sense of like, all right, I can do this, even though this is really hard and I don't know if I'm going to play or
Yeah.
what that will look like in the future. My confidence increased a lot.
And for anyone listening, I mean, field hockey it's a really competitive sport. It's a confusing sport. Well, I know we'll dive into that. We have to. All right. Well, we'll dive into that now. So I remember I was like, Alyssa, can we please go watch a field hockey game together? Because as a former coach, I was like, if I watch with her, I'm going to understand this a little bit more. And then there was like at least 6 whistles. Alyssa's like, yeah, I don't know what just happened there either. I was like, thank goodness.
The rules are really confusing, and it's hard to see when you're standing on the sideline.
But as
Like,
a
I don't
coach,
think the refs know half the time.
but as a
If you're in the
coach,
field hockey world, you understand that too.
anyone in the field hockey world understands that. Yeah. But as a coach, that must be infuriating.
Yeah, because you don't know what the heck is going on either.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love that sort of story of resilience of just getting there. And so, would you like what role did that play in your career choice? Would you say then?
Well, as an athlete, was the athlete that like really over identified or only had one identity of
Yeah.
being an athlete. I think like making that choice to, I'm going to stick it out, I'm going to reach my full potential. I want to be the best that I can be in my
Mm-hmm.
sport. I
Mm-hmm.
was like 100% all in.
Yeah.
So if you had met me, well, if you had met me then, I would have definitely been in your office. um, and I probably would have like worked through some things before I had
Yeah.
actually graduated.
Yeah. But there wasn't
So
someone like that at Monmouth University when you were there as an athlete.
yeah, right. There was a doctoral, somebody did their dissertation with maybe coaches or
Okay.
athletes at the university. So I did have an opportunity to speak to someone one time,
Yeah.
and it was like maybe an hour. And I remember she gave me some video to watch, and
Yeah.
it was helpful enough, but I never
Yeah.
went back. And I don't even know if there was opportunity to go back.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And then so that had a big impact on your career choice.
Yeah.
Tell everybody how. I mean, I could see I know how, but like how did that experience of over identifying as an athlete then make your choice to say, "Hey, I want to work with athletes."
Yeah, it was a slow burn, for lack of better words. I graduated, well, I was an early childhood education major undergrad. So when I finished my season mid November or whatever, I had like a month, and then the semester ended, and then I went straight into student teaching, because with that major, it's all set up for you to essentially get into a school system as soon as you're done with school. So me not putting any thought into like, what do I want to do with my life? I had amazing coaches who were also teachers. I
Yeah.
was like, this seems like the right path. I think that when my season ended, I struggled really
Yeah.
bad. Even before I like anticipating that it was ending.
Yeah.
I remember like the one of my last games, we were playing in a championship, and I was so bad. Like
Yeah.
my anxiety was so high, and like I didn't have the words to describe what was going on, but
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh my God, I've been working my entire life for this moment right now.
Mm,
And like I remember my teammates being like, dude, are you okay?
wow.
And it was, yeah, like completely like just not there.
Yeah. Looking
And
back on that, like 1 to 10, like how anxious do you think you were?
like a 10. I
Yeah.
was,
Wow.
yeah, I was so bad. Like I'm sure there's game film somewhere, and
Yeah.
if I was to watch it, it would be horrible.
Probably like trigger. Yeah. Yeah. Brings you right back to that feeling.
Yeah, and I remember being like, I never want to feel like that ever again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really important for people to hear because that's so deep. And it was all tied up in like this whole thing is about to end.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yep. And I was in my senior year, like I was the only captain of the team. I was one of two seniors. Like there was just a lot kind of
Yeah.
going on. And I was so over identified and so invested in, especially my last season, that like, okay, now I'm anticipating the final days. In sports, every team basically ends with a loss unless you're a national championship, like
Right.
champion winner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to like be in your conference final, I didn't want that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously not. So, I mean, I know now, and one of the things that, so we were able to do is that you had this internship with us, you worked as a student counselor working with athletes. Then we were able to build a system at Monmouth together because there was no sports psychology support for athletes. And so what was that like to like be at this place and then to, together, that's where we really built our relationship and then build this whole
Mhm.
thing together.
Yeah, that was like an awesome experience. I reflect back on that and I'm like, wow, I had like no business doing that. And I just thought I did because I was really passionate
Yeah.
and I knew at like at that time in my life I did not want to coach anymore.
Yeah.
And that this is exactly like what I meant to do and what I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And Monmouth had the need.
Totally.
There's 600 athletes, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
And I think that, we were really lucky to connect with Jen,
Yeah.
who
Athletic
was
director.
the current athletic director, and she was passionate about it too, and really went to bat for us and
Totally.
our vision to
Yeah.
create something like that for the student athletes.
So how is that framed? Like, how do you work with clients today? Because the other piece I think is interesting for people to hear about this is that then there came a time when we left the Monmouth Project, and we're still involved, but you came to the other side of just more kind of clinical practice. You hadn't really worked with like non-athletes that much,
Yeah,
and so that's been also part of your growth. So like, how do you work with clients? Like, what's your client approach?
it was definitely a big transition
Yeah.
to go from all of my experience to be with athletes to then having non-athletes as a big part of the practice. When I think about working with clients who are non-athletes or athletes, it's very similar at the end of the day, right? Like showing up, making sure that I'm genuine in who I am,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that, I am able to create a space where clients feel open to share things about themselves, asking questions to gain an understanding of who they are and making sure that I'm not like filling in with any sorts of assumptions about who they could be. But I think like I hope, right, that my clients when they walk in, they feel a sense of genuineness.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like I'm me no matter where I am.
Yeah. You are. I love hearing you say. I've never heard you say that. So it's kind of weird as I'm reading some of these questions that Lee proposed because I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great question. Go ahead, Lee.
That's funny.
I know it is funny. I also like to show up my radically genuine
Yeah,
self.
you do.
But I would assume also that cognitive behavioral therapy is also a big piece of your intervention and the way that you're working with athletes too, and clients and your
Yeah.
clients you work with. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you'd add to that about some of the clients and just how what that would look like?
Like using CBT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the big thing with CBT is identifying like the connections between thoughts, emotions, and behaviors.
Yeah.
So I like to kind of reframe anxious thoughts as ants and like
Okay.
literally like
Yeah.
picture ants like crawling on the ground,
Yeah.
right? You wouldn't just like leave a pile of ants in the corner of your house to
Right.
like multiply and grow and then take over. So
Yeah.
like the idea of like we have to start to be able to identify like, hey, there's a problem in
Right.
my thought patterns.
Yeah.
So recognizing too that like using CBT is kind of like a mind gym. I kind
Yeah.
of think about like you have to like restructure and like work at it. It's not
Yeah.
super easy the first time you do it. Just like if we were at the gym, it wouldn't be super easy for you to just run a mile if you never had
Ugh,
before.
I hate running.
I know.
Because we also go to the same gym, so we get to see
Yeah.
each other at the gym, which is great
Yeah.
because we practice what we preach.
Yeah.
I don't let I hire exterminators. I'm my own exterminator for those ants, right? And we take care of our well-being. So what advice do you have for high school athletes? Because you talked about being a walk-on, a recruited walk-on. High school athletes, I think, suffer the most from NIL revenue share because they're less recruited right now because the portal really impacts that. So you have any advice for high school athletes or parents of high school athletes?
I think the first thing is like it's hard. Like
Yeah.
it is hard. So we have to recognize and normalize that things are constantly changing and making maybe dreams or realities or whatever it was that you thought that you wanted a lot more difficult to achieve. And that's not because of you
Hmm.
or like because you're not good enough. There's structures and systems and things that, people who are higher up and, have opportunities to make these decisions that are directly affecting you. But that doesn't mean that everything that you've done in your life up until this point is not worth it.
That is really good advice. It also sounds like a soon to be doctor in organizational science.
That's probably where that came from.
Maybe talk about that degree for maybe someone who's listening who might be considering, some sort of doctoral or graduate training. So you have a
Yeah.
master's in counseling, but talk about
Yeah.
your doctoral training.
I am a year and a half into
Yay.
doctoral training. I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm doing my doctorate in industrial organizational psychology, learning a lot about systems, leadership. Um, and the classes have been great so far. Right now, I am transitioning literally next week or in 2 weeks to the doctoral dissertation phase
Yeah.
of the I don't know
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we're going to study. What do you think? What are you leaning towards that you might be studying for that program?
I definitely have ideas. And I was in the shower and I was like, oh, maybe I want to do a different idea now.
What was it? Let's
um,
go. What was it?
so yeah, first I was kind of set on wanting to examine coach leadership styles and their
Yeah.
relationship to their own personal mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was thinking it would be kind of interesting to examine how the transfer portal is impacting maybe coach mental health.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally.
Yeah,
So
that might be like more, I don't know, current niche. I don't know.
this is where it happens in the shower. This is how
Yeah.
this is how a scientist thinks.
Yeah.
So all right. So another advice thing. So like athletes that are listening, what could they do? And so obviously you're even in those two examples like focused on mental health.
Mhm.
In the sports world, what can athletes do to take care of their mental health while they're away at school? And any advice for parents who are navigating this period?
Yeah. If you're an athlete and you're in college, I would definitely see what resources your school offers. There should be somebody at this point who is like us on campus that can help you. But I think that there's little things you can do to um, like improve your mental health on your own, making sure that you're sleeping enough, taking care of yourself, setting aside every day to practice self-care 20 minutes. Like I love to kind of use that reframe.
Yeah.
It's really can be easy to find.
Yeah.
Go for a walk or even listen to a podcast or music or do some breathing. I think that we want to be intentional with how we're using those 20 minutes and make sure it's not just sitting in your bed on social media.
Amen. Walk your dog.
But walk your dog. Yeah, I love to walk my dog.
We have, especially as the weather gets nicer here on the East Coast. Yeah, that is helpful. And I like you said that. I mean, most schools probably have something, but they probably need more resources too. Yeah,
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 yeah, for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's something that it's not easy for a lot of people. What tools help you in your daily life to manage anxiety or stress?
Walking my dog. Definitely walking my dog. Definitely going to the gym. That is like a practice that
Although you
has
told me the other
stuck
day
with
that you're
me.
getting a little bored.
I am getting a little bit bored. And this is actually the first time I've ever felt like that. I've always kind of been able to just like, I don't know, bounce around and do whatever, but I feel like I need a restructuring or a new focus a little bit at the gym.
Yeah. Well, you have a workout partner from time to
Yeah.
time. I mean, you have a lot of good systems in place,
Yes.
but even that can get boring. I think that's helpful for people to hear because you're young, you're fit, and I think a lot of people get bored at the gym and then they just quit.
Yep.
You and I almost quit, so we have that in common. And and
Yeah.
and we know that when you commit to something and you stick it out, like how does that make you feel at the end?
Yeah. Super fulfilled.
Yeah.
Super fulfilled.
Yeah. What would you do? Anything you would do differently? Like if you looking back at your time as either an athlete or a coach, what's like one or two things you would do differently?
I'll give you one for athlete and one for coach.
Okay. I love that.
As an athlete, I would spend time developing other aspects of who I am.
Yeah.
Just learn more about myself and not have everything just be about sport all the time. As a coach, I've coached like in two different contexts, like in college athletics and then also like youth developmental and, helping my team. They're all going to be seniors and they're all committed and it's all great now. So
Nice.
I think I would just back myself a little bit more. I was
Mhm.
so young being a coach and, coaching some of my teammates and all of that was really uncomfortable. And I think I never realized maybe how much of an impact I could have had because I was so afraid of like disrupting relationships or judgment for
Yeah.
being a coach.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're in the locker room having conversations about your coaches and then you become one. Like it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that's really good. That's really good reflection because you do, and even in supervision, we've talked about how sometimes teams rally around the fact that they don't like something about their coach, and coaching is not an easy job, and it's you have to find that line. And I think one of the things that sticks out to me today in knowing you in our conversation is I think we were able to empower you a bit. Like you said, who did I think I was to be running the show at Mom?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were exactly where you were supposed to be, and maybe not perfectly, because you
Yeah.
were, you still needed development, and you did all that though. Like your resilience and your work ethic kind of lends to that, and it showed, and it was a very successful program, and you grow into something that's like super super incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's true. It's just really nice to see. I think it's, something you need to celebrate too. So that's what I would do differently. I would celebrate my small victories more often because we don't as high performers.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really nice for you to say that.
Yeah. So, well, I know where people could find you. They could head, but where would you tell people to find you if they want to learn more about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, just Alyssa Ercolino, and you can also find me at the cwcnj.com.
Yeah. And so Alyssa Ercolino, soon to be Dr. Alyssa Ercolino. And it was so fun to have you on this episode. I know maybe we'll do a part two where we'll figure like another topic that we can talk about.
Yeah, or I feel like I need like a 10-year later, like where's she at? I don't know where I'm gonna be.
Who knows? I don't know where you're going to be either. We started to plant those seeds though, and
Yeah, I know.
I like when people blossom and just grow and do their thing. I think it's important. I don't know. I have, there's some horror stories of how mentors try and own people. I don't like to do that.
No, you don't.
No,
You definitely don't.
no, I don't own anybody. I don't hardly own myself. So forget about that.
The fact that you're not lying though.
I know. When you know, you know. I say that too much lately, but all right, Alyssa, thank you so much for being here. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. And for you listening at home, thank you for tuning in. As always, if you like this episode or the show, please like, follow, and share. Everything's at Official Dr. Pete. And until I see you here next week, spread a little kindness and stay well.